I think we'll let it play out as we get closer to the cut down. Those are all conversations that we are always having, but those are tough decisions. I'd like to keep everybody, but
these teams cling to these picks like they're gold, whether they're a 5th round pick or a 1st round pick. So
that we're going to see all 4 of them here, and they're going to continue to evaluate them and feel them out for the sake of the future of their franchise.
The Browns just lit the fuse, and now a QB trade is looming after Kevin Stefanski's shocking statement rocked Cleveland to its core. What we're watching is a full-blown meltdown, with the front office ready to toss somebody under the bus just to survive. Cleveland has set fire to its own house, and the entire NFL is waiting to see which quarterback gets sacrificed first.
Kevin Stefanski told reporters yesterday that this week the Browns will name their starting quarterback.
Kevin Stefanski dropped a bomb. What people thought would be routine coach speak turned into the first real crack in the Browns quarterback foundation. The man admitted the room was unstable, and that little crack has blown wide open into rumors of trades, locker room chaos, and a fan base ready to riot. Nobody expected that kind of honesty, and now it feels like Cleveland is sitting on a ticking time bomb. Because let's be real, Browns fans weren't expecting sunshine and roses this offseason. They were expecting competition. They wanted to see guys battle for the job. But what they didn't expect was Stefanski hinting that something bigger is already in motion.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And speaking of that QB room, calling it a mess doesn't even do it justice. It's a circus. 6 quarterbacks stuffed into one roster spot, and somehow the Browns still don't have a clear leader. It's not a competition. You've got veterans, rookies, projects, and then the one name everyone keeps chanting, let that 12 rock, Shador Sanders, who wasn't even supposed to be in this conversation yet, has already forced his way to the front just by pure performance.
Dillon Gabriel got the start on Saturday in Philadelphia, had a couple of turnovers, but all in all, and most importantly, emerged from the game.
And here's the crazy part, he's been doing it without first team reps. He's out there throwing darts with the 3s and 4s, while Dillon Gabriel gets every opportunity with better protection and better receivers. Yet look at the results. Gabriel going 11 of 22 in practice with no pressure, and then later collapsing to 3 of 14 with 11 throws wildly off target.
Dillon Gabriel, not as good as Shador Sanders in his first preseason start, but showed some promise in terms of running the offense, and they took him earlier in the draft. They believe in him. They're not going to just punt on a 3rd round pick this soon in his developmental process.
That's not just bad, that's unplayable. Meanwhile, Sanders is out there running red zone drills like he's been in the league for years. You tell me how that makes sense.
These quarterbacks as assets, it's a buy low, sell high. We get him for 144 this year. We flip him for a top.
This is where things get dangerous, because the quarterback situation isn't just about football anymore. It's tearing the locker room apart, and this is where Stefanski's gamble looks the most reckless, because instead of addressing the obvious, that Sanders has earned his shot, Stefanski has doubled down on Gabriel.
I'm not saying the Browns should or would do this. All I'm saying is when you've got that many quarterbacks and you're trying to figure out what to do with all of them, and you view your quarterbacks as assets, what if there's a team out there that was that close to picking Shador Sanders in round 2 or 3?
Let's talk about this trade storm, because the Browns are acting like a reality TV show that accidentally wandered onto an NFL field. Stefanski drops this so-called shocking statement, and insiders swear it wasn't just coach speak, it was code. Code 4, somebody's about to get shipped out, and the whispers are flying.
It made me sort of start to question, is keeping 4 quarterbacks really realistic? And to this point, I had mostly been saying throughout training camp that I didn't think they would do it.
Do they flip Dillon Gabriel for a couple of draft picks before he tanks his own stock? Do they bring in a grizzled veteran just to keep the ship from capsizing? Or maybe, and this one's wild, do they clear out another quarterback entirely just to declutter the circus? However you slice it, everyone agrees. This mess doesn't survive September without somebody packing their bags.
As I thought more and more about Kenny Pickett, the big thing I keep going back to is they traded a 5th round pick for this guy.
The whole thing feels eerily similar to the Kenny Pickett situation. Stefanski had no problem backing Pickett despite shaky performances, but when it comes to Shador, suddenly it's about needing more time and learning the system. That's why fans are furious. That's why analysts are lighting Stefanski up. Sharp said it plain. Stefanski is focusing on Shad's weaknesses instead of acknowledging his strengths, while giving Gabriel a free pass for mistakes.
So what I thought was interesting about that is Kevin Stefanski is normally like the biggest redirect guy out there when it comes to how he answers questions. Like he is truly a tactful politician in these situations.
And that favoritism is creating a storm. It's why fans are screaming bias. It's why every practice stat and every insider leak now feels like a clue about what's really going on behind the scenes. Because at this point, it doesn't matter how many times Stefanski talks about competition. The players see it, the fans see it, and now the entire league is watching too.
But he's stuck to the position group I asked him about. I asked him about the quarterbacks, the keeping four specifically, and he stuck to that group and said, yeah, these are tough decisions. I'd like to keep everybody, but it's not realistic.
The Browns wanted a quarterback room full of options, but all they've built is a pressure cooker. One coach's comment has opened the door to trade rumors. One insult has divided the locker room, and one rookie's performance has forced a conversation nobody in Cleveland was ready to have this soon. The question now isn't just who's starting week 1, it's who's even gonna be here by then.
It's possible the team makes QB addition before the draft, but he noted that the position room will probably, quote, skew young.
The Andrew Berry meltdown might go down as one of the weirdest front office moments in recent Browns history. And trust me, that bar is already low. Instead of calming the storm, the GM himself grabbed a microphone and basically lit a match. Berry went off on reporters, blasting them as fake fans and outside noise. Let's pause here. The guy literally attacked the very people covering his team. That's not leadership, that's panic disguised as toughness. And it sent a clear message. This front office isn't cool under pressure. They're cracking.
I don't know that they would do it. All I'm saying is,
It's not crazy.
all factors are at play here.
You're not. That's not
All
crazy.
cards are on the table for what could happen.
Inside the building, things aren't any better. Coaches are pointing fingers at scouts. Scouts are whispering about Barry's ego, and the players, they're stuck in the middle of a blame game where nobody wants to own the mess. What's worse, it looks like Berry and Stefanski aren't learning from this chaos at all. Instead of saying, hey, maybe we should rethink this, they've doubled down, protect Gabriel at all costs, pretend Shador's rise isn't real, and hope the storm blows over. Problem is, storms don't just blow over in Cleveland, they usually turn into tornadoes.
This is complete next level. Redefine a rookie contract. The clause is seen as a groundbreaking move, potentially reshaping how athletes negotiate their contracts in the future.
And here's the wild part. While Berry's rant made headlines, Shador Sanders has quietly become bigger than the Browns themselves. This isn't just about football anymore, it's about prime equity. Shador doesn't walk into a locker room, he brings a brand. He's a walking empire with sponsorships, fan hype, and a spotlight that follows him everywhere. You bench a guy like that, and you're not just benching a quarterback, you're shutting down a money printing machine.
You've got 4 guys. There could be many reasons why someone would call about any of the 4. Any of the 4. Maybe someone's going to call, let's just play it cool.
And that's what makes Stefanski and Berry's gamble so baffling. This isn't 1995. You don't just bench the most marketable rookie in the NFL without consequences. This is an era where jersey sales, social media clout, and sponsorship money matter just as much as playbooks. Shador is basically a franchise cheat code, and the Browns are acting like they'd rather hit reset than actually use it.
You are where you are. I mean, some people say, well, Dylan Gabriel has played better. I haven't heard anybody say that, but some people like Dylan Gabriel and think what he brings to the table.
Meanwhile, fans aren't staying quiet. If you think Cleveland's loyal fan base was just going to sit back and accept this, think again. Fantasy football owners are already in meltdown mode. Public opinion is now boxing the Browns into a corner. They can pretend for another week or two that this is just competition, but the pressure isn't going away. Every Gabriel incompletion is going to be magnified. Every Sanders highlight, even in practice, will go viral. And eventually, the front office won't just be battling the locker room, they'll be fighting against their own fan base.
That's where it becomes tricky. The easy thing is to say Flacco's the starter. The harder thing is who's number 2, who's number 3, who's number 4, who stays, who goes, what can we get, how do we play this, How do we work this?
So when you put it all together, here's the reality. The Browns don't just have a quarterback controversy, they've got a cultural crisis. Barry and Stefanski are clinging to Gabriel like he's a lifeboat, but in doing so, they're ignoring the tidal wave that is Shador Sanders. And in a city that has lived through enough heartbreak, fans are done being patient. They want the future, they want the energy, and they want the guy who makes Cleveland feel like it finally matters again. Because here's the brutal truth. Benching Shador isn't just bad football, it's bad business. It's financial suicide, it's cultural blindness. And every day the Browns refuse to accept that, the firestorm only gets hotter.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that or believe that. It's going to be a very tough decision, but in order for them to carry 4 quarterbacks, that means they're not really sure.
And here's the shocking reality. Cleveland doesn't have forever. This roster, playoff ready, defense, loaded, weapons, sitting there waiting. But the QB chaos is rotting it from the inside out. If they waste the Sanders momentum, the prime effect, the cultural wave, the whole package, they risk blowing the best shot they've had in decades. Years of progress gone, just because the front office couldn't get out of its own way. This so-called shocking statement, yeah, it might be remembered as the exact moment everything snapped. Subscribe to get more updates on Browns QB situation.